Coming up on tonight's podcast, we have a recap of last week's Pick'em. We check in on running storylines from around the league. We discuss the disastrous Dodgers disappearing act. And last but not least, we look ahead to this week's matchup. All brought to you by me, Weaver, on... Couple of best friends hanging out. Yeah. So, very clearly, I am tinkering. Hopefully, some of these sound effects will be enjoyable for y'all. I've been having fun messing with them a little bit. Thank you. That wasn't even a joke, but we'll take the applause. Hold the applause till later, please. Come on, live audience. Chill. Yeah, here we are. It's Friday night. I'm all alone this time around. That's okay. Everybody's got their Friday night plans. This is like my only free night of the week, so now it's no longer free. It's dedicated to podcasting. So that's cool. I hope everybody is out living their best life. I think that this is mine. Otherwise, I'd be out there drinking and making medium well life choices. That's always questionable. Yeah, Friday night. My little sister is out. Leah just turned 21 on the skirts, and so I know that a couple of the skirties were doing a wow, what's it called? The loop. They were doing the loop. Give me the loop. So yeah, that's always fun. Turning 21. You guys remember that day? I was a rookie on Tide when I turned 21. We had qualified for nationals. I had taken an oath of, I guess, sobriety after our sectionals performance. I vowed not to drink between sectionals and whenever we got eliminated. And we just so happened to qualify for nationals that year, and my birthday was the week of nationals. So I didn't even really do anything. I remember I was dating Danielle at the time. She made me a birthday cake, and we hopped into my roommate Cody's car, and we went to the gas station, and we bought a six-pack. I bought a six-pack at the gas station, and we each drank one, and that was it. I knew that we would be partying at nationals, and what a party that was. I actually consider that to be my 21st birthday party. The hotel parties, both at regionals and nationals. I'm taking those both under my wing. I take credit for all of it, and thank you all for celebrating my birthday back when we were there. That's super fun. So last week was an awesome week for fantasy. We all crushed it. All the players that are supposed to score did. I guess not all of them, right? We'll get to that a little bit later. But there were very few random, like Brandon Bolden touchdowns or like TE2 touchdown catches. All of the big names, the people that are supposed to be scoring were scoring, and that was reflected in our scores, except for poor F Dog. You have had the worst injury luck by far out of everybody. Smart enough to have a handcuff for Saquon, and then Gallman gets hurt almost immediately. That's brutal. So yeah, everybody but Evan had a good week. No, Hawk and Cock and Scott's super duper shitty team. New Sacco favorite. I feel like the Sacco favorite keeps changing arms, right? After week one, Tyreek Hill goes down and Colin is my front runner. And then I realized, oh my God, O'Malley's team actually really sucks. And then ever since I said that, he's been on a winning streak. Now we've got Evan with his injuries and Scott's super shitty team battling it out. We'll see. We'll see. I think for now Scott's the front runner, but Ev Dog, unfortunately, you're close behind, and not for lack of trying. You're being super active on the waiver wire. You're seemingly making all the right moves. I mean, it helps when your bench kind of really sucks. I don't know, man. You've got it rough right now. Hopefully, there's light at the end of the tunnel with Saquon coming back, and then he and Mahomes just put up 40 each week for you, and then you get back on the winning track. But yeah, as of last week's picks, I went 5-1. Pretty cool. Got every matchup right except for I chose a pretender over O'Malley. I don't know what I was thinking. Stewart, I thought better of you. I thought Melvin Gordon was gonna have a better game. That's actually what I thought. Nobody saw DJ Shark Jr. Blowing up for 32 points. Minshew Mania, Minshew Magic. Had a great effect for that guy. Yeah, so that brings my season record to 17-13. Love to see that. Couple storylines from around the league. Pebbles and his tight ends. He chose correct last week. He started Mark Andrews, who scored a big fat 7 points, and he shockingly did better than Darren Waller, his new namesake. I am the Walrus. That's a good one. Goo goo kajoo. I don't really get that. It's probably a John Gruden reference, but I guess I'm just not smart enough there. So yeah, kudos picking the right tight end. And in that same matchup, we had Max with his quarterback controversies. Luckily chose right. Holy shit. That would have been a huge mistake. That would have lost the matchup, obviously, for almost anybody. Chose Russell Wilson, put up 31 points over Baker Mayfield, who scored -2 points. Ouch. If you start a quarterback that puts up -2 points, that's basically a guaranteed L. You're taking the L no matter what. Unfortunately, it's just such a strong position each week. Quarterbacks are always in the top 10. They dominate the top 10, I would say. Actually, let's take a look at that real quick. Last week's top scoring players, we have Will Fuller, number 1, 47 points. Ezekiel saw the bench. This was a coaching decision. We don't know what Will Fuller did to deserve it, but yeah, he was riding the pine on that performance. We have Aaron Jones. That's how you set the week's top score, by having the top 2 position player scores on a week. Kudos, Adam. Despite benching Will Fuller, you still pulled it out. You earned that money the hard way. Well done. In third, we had Chris McCaffrey, Run CMC, just the backbone of Jameson Mule's team. If something was to happen to him, Bill would instantly start losing, which would be nice for the rest of the league. Let's have some parity, huh? Let's spread these injuries around. Evan, stop being so greedy. Let's let Bill have an injury, huh? All right. Number 4, we got Deshaun Watson, my boy. And finally, top 5, Michael Thomas. He had a monster game with Teddy Bridgewater. Glad I didn't trade him to you, Pebbles, for a single tight end. That would have been the worst decision of my life, and it was actually never an option. It was definitely just joked about. Um, let's finish out the top 10. We got at 6, Amari Cooper, DJ Chark Jr., Matt Ryan. Did not expect to see his name up there. He's having a sneaky good fantasy season despite the Falcons taking all those L's. We got Russell Wilson, Adam Thielen, Chris Godwin, Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs also benched because of a coaching decision. We'll see if that trend continues with running backs versus the Bears. That was shocking to me, obviously, because I benched him. My logic being they're flying overseas, gonna be jet lagged all shit, playing top defense in the league besides the Patriots and Niners. Fucking, I don't know. Derek Carr is not really a threat. The Oakland Raiders have had such a wishy-washy season already. I just expected a valley, not a peak, and I was wrong. So yeah, that's top performers from the week. Pretty cool if you have one of those players on your team. Unfortunately, I don't see one of those players belonging to Hawk and Cock, and that's how you take the L, unfortunately. Better luck next week, Sones. Also, notably absent, Scott's shitty team. I don't think he's even got a single player in the top 25. That's brutal. Even Ev Dog has that, and Cooper Cup. Jeepers. Yeah, that's brutal. Better luck next time, Scotty. All right. Next up, we have for back to the fun storylines. We got the Tampa Bay running backs, Peyton Barber versus Ronald Jones. I actually called this when discussing Evans' matchup. I said that Ronald Jones had a good week, I guess 2 weeks ago, and you needed to bench him because they flip-flop every week, and it turns out I was right. Peyton Barber scored 9.6 to Ronald Jones 6.6. That means this week, fire up Ronald Jones, baby. He's going to have a game, and Peyton Barber is not going to do dick. Another fun storyline. Colin was talking shit on Stu's roster management. He said that he would have benched Jordan Howard and started Sterling Shepard in the flex position. And if Stu had done that, he would have gotten 5 less points. Colin, you were wrong. Sterling Shepard outscored by Jordan Howard. So apparently, Jordan Howard is now somebody you just are supposed to start. Keeps finding pay dirt. And you love to see that. You love to get those scoring notifications. I actually haven't watched any Phillies ball really at all yet this season, but it looks, just checking out Jordan Howard's stats right now, his rushing attempts per game 6, 8, 11, 15, 13. So that's kind of middling. He's kind of a touchdown dependent guy right now, it turns out. As long as that keeps happening, I mean, the Eagles have scored 32, 24, 27, 34, 31. So, yeah, if you're going to have a touchdown dependent player, you want it to be on a team that scores a lot, right? Same logic as the kickers, but actually more predictable. Ha! Yeah, as far as kickers go, I don't know. I'm not really. This isn't the hill that I'm gonna die on. I'm not really fighting for it anymore. Once I kind of gave up on it last season, when Colin kept streaming kickers and picking up 0 points week after week, and he was still on board with the kicker position, I knew that it was a lost cause, that I wouldn't be able to ever convert this league with that kind of kicker dedication. And I see all you guys' logic. I mean, randomness is definitely built into fantasy football, right? Like, that's why projections don't mean shit and preseason rankings don't mean shit, because we don't know anything about anything. And every team that we thought was good maybe wasn't as good, right? And like Bacon's team, for example, I thought that shit sucked through and through. I dedicated a whole episode to how each player on his team was doing surprisingly well, and his record is not indicative of his performance. Um, he's up there on points scored, 641. That's like top six for sure. Just having some bad luck. But yeah, randomness is built into fantasy. There's a little bit of logic you can spread around, but for the most part, you never know that Will Fuller is gonna put up 47, and after 4 consecutive weeks of single digit efforts. I mean, that's why Adam benched him, and it was completely logical. And you hate, like, if Adam had lost his matchup, he'd be kicking himself, right? Why didn't I start Will Fuller? And then you look at context and you're like, oh, right, yeah, because he was super sucking. Before that, the most receptions he had in a game was 5, and the most yardage was 69 yards in week 1. So, like, those are some pretty bust numbers right there. So luckily you didn't have to suffer that fate of regret, Adam. But yeah, I think that's something that we often overlook, is the context of the decisions that we make, especially now that we're spending all this time digging into the archives and seeing, team names. A lot of team names are dependent on context for all this grading that we were doing, right? Like, with each storyline, there was a period of time. I remember one season O'Malley had a new team name every single week, and they were all culturally relevant, and I was just eating them up, and they were all punny too, with player names on your roster. And to me, you will always be the naming champion. O'Malley's, I love your names. I love what you bring to the table. You and Bolenbaugh are heavyweight contenders. I look up to you, both of you, and your naming abilities. And one day I will not be a middle dweller, as I seemingly am in almost every aspect of fantasy. Well, yeah, I guess technically I'm a cellar dweller when it comes to finishing, but naming, I'm in the middle of the pack, and that's what's up. Content, middle of the pack. Booyah. Except for this year. I'm on my way up. Yeah, so speaking of culturally relevant things, the Dodgers. Woof. That was gnarly. I've never seen a game flip the script so quickly, and to, like, context matters. I don't understand what Dave Roberts was thinking at the time. We carried a pitcher who, in this series, specifically to pitch to that young stud Soto. That was his only job, was to come in late in the game, strike him out, or get a ground ball out of him. That was it. He wasn't going to pitch to anybody else. And yet here we are in the 10th inning. He's coming up to bat. No Kolarek. That's his name. It's pretty close to colorectal. Kolarek, yeah. Where's he at? Sitting down in the bullpen. That makes no fucking sense. What are you doing? Anyways, so as mad and sad as I am, it's kind of par for the course. Dodgers have just been heartbreakers for the past 3 years. Well, past like decade, I guess. It's kind of weird being so successful and yet not being successful, especially since they've never won in my lifetime. It'd be pretty cool having followed them for as long as I have to hit pay dirt, especially with the amount of money that they are blowing on players. So I think maybe next year we'll see some deadline, some major transactions come the trade deadline, because the way that we have it going right now, it's not working. And so I decided to honor the Dodgers with a segment called the Dodgers Disappearing Act. This is in honor of all of the players that typically are studs or major contributors to their fantasy teams. These are guys that you start week in and week out, no questions asked, no regrets for starting them over somebody else, and who just in your time of need suck. And so I don't think there's a better player that fits this description than Mike Evans last week. Mike Evans has been a phenomenal receiver. He's a guy that can win you your matchup. I think even with, where is he ranked right now? Even with a goose egg, he's still top 25. I'm looking for, actually, oh, season total, sorry. Whoops. Bear with me. Hold. Yeah, even with a goose egg, essentially not playing a game, having his bye week, quote unquote, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. He's the 13th best receiver in fantasy. Put up a goose egg, royally screwed Hawk and Cock. I appreciated it. It was boom or bust, and luckily he busted. It makes no sense that James Winston wasn't forcing him the ball. That's stupid, and that's why the Buccaneers took the L, because you can't ignore your stud. You gotta feed your studs the rock. That's something that I picked up from Coach Bacon last season on the Aviators. You got to get your best players on the field, and you got to get them the rock, and they didn't do that. So there's a lot of disappearing acts this past week. Odell, a big old 4 points. It really didn't help that he muffed that punt return or fumbled. That was pretty silly. He threw a pass. He's all over the place. They're trying to get him involved, except for in the receiving game. So that's weird. Baker Mayfield, I guess this isn't really a player that you start week in and week out, just weeks 1 through 3. And yeah, he scored -2 points. That's a game changer. You're gonna lose your matchup if your quarterback puts up -2. So that sucks. We have Keenan Allen, 3.8 points last week. Luckily, Bill's a powerhouse, and he doesn't have to depend on any one player. But yeah, that was by far his worst performance. He's been trending down recently, actually. Against Miami, he only scored 7 points. And Miami is the team that you want your players to score 20 plus. So maybe he just like rises to the occasion for tougher matchups. In the Houston game, he scored 37 points. So maybe he's just taking it easy against shittier teams. But yeah, the Chargers are going to need to get this W against Pittsburgh, or they're in a bad spot. And Keenan will be a big part of it. Next up, we got Emmanuel Sanders. This one was a little bit of a surprise to me. 1.4 points. There was Carlos Sutton on the other side of the field dominating. So, I mean, sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles, right? Sometimes in two receiver teams, 2 contributors, one of them is dominating, The other one, it's feast or famine, right? One feasts, the other starves, and that was the case here. Um, Next up is Julio Jones. That's shocking, considering Matt Ryan had such an epic day. Julio has a matchup against the Arizona Cardinals this week, so he will surely bounce back, and it's gonna be good. I hope that he comes back with a vengeance, to be honest. And then, obviously Stu the Pretender will love that. Um, Kind of tied to Keenan Allen's success and failure was Philip Rivers, P. Riv. This is a guy that I say you start him if you want 18 points every week. Philip Rivers is the man, and this week he only got 4 points. That's devastating. I think Stu said it already. I think that the Chargers' time is coming to a close with Philly Riv. I think the league is getting too mobile, and if you don't have a mobile quarterback, not named Tom Brady or Drew Brees or yeah, I mean even Aaron Rodgers used to scramble a bit, but he's been looking bad this season too. The time of the pocket passer is coming to a close, unfortunately. And last but not least, we have LaShawn McCoy. Scored a whopping 1.3 points. This broke our rule. If you have a chief and that chief is playing, you start it. That's the rule. This is why I'm not good at fantasy, because I don't have any chiefs on my team. So yeah, LaShawn McCoy, that was incredibly confusing considering he played through injury the week before and balled out and then was even benched because, he's starting to hurt. So that's weird. I did not see that coming. And yeah, I guess no longer, I guess it's not a law. It's just the rule of the Chiefs now. It's the law. Sound editing is hard, it turns out. But yeah, that's those are my Dodgers disappearing act of the previous week. Hopefully, we get a couple bounce backs. I mean, if you avoid having a disappearing act on your team, you're probably gonna win. So yes, better luck next time, Buckaroos. All right, now it's time to get into this week's matchups. I've done a ton of research and I waited till after Thursday Night Football was over just to really give myself an edge because I like to win and I don't care who knows. And if you're not cheating, you're not trying, obviously. First up, we have Aaron's Abysmal All Stars versus I Am the Walrus. First and foremost, Walrus is on a bye. I know this because so is Josh Jacobs. And unfortunately for me, that means that Pebs can't mismanage his team. It's a sure thing. He's going to start Mark Andrews. Though, luckily for me, Mark Andrews has that Q next to his name. So hopefully, he game time decision, he can't go, or maybe he gets busted up really early on in the game. That'd be pretty sweet. I'm dodging the Deshaun Jackson bullet. It's going to be Pebs. Your team is going to be pretty nasty once he comes back. It was amazing what he and Wentz put together in week 1. Bummer that he hasn't played ever since. That's kind of, yeah, boomer bust. And he's been busting because his injury. I'm always going to bet on myself. You heard it here first. I'm going to win because David Johnson is hurt and Chase Edmonds is going to play and he's going to score a bunch. That would be sick. Cardinals and Falcons are going to get in a shootout. Chase Edmonds is going to be top top 15, nah, top 12 running back, with the asterisk that David Johnson doesn't play. And yeah, so huge asterisk. But yeah, this should be a fun matchup. Currently, you're projected to beat me by 25, so that's fun. The Golden Tate Tinker is huge on your part. Well played. Mike Nugent, kicker that we've never heard of, put up 5 because he's on a good team, and that is, logical. I think my kicker takes this matchup. Siebert over Nugent, and that's what gets me the W. Aaron's Abysmal All-Stars over I Am the Walrus. Suck it, Pebs, you're going down. And I'd actually be down to bet some sort of like Uber Eats or like Domino's Pizza. That'd be pretty fun. If you're down to do that. Or we could do like rose delivery to your workplace. That'd be fun. Especially since I'm the underdog. It makes sense. So fuck it. Let's go. Next up, we have New England Empire over Maxwell Dunn Jr. Ooh, this one's tough. Bacon caught Max on his bye week. Bears are on bye, and Max has three players on the Bears. Todd Gurley is doubtful. I don't think he's gonna play, actually, which is kind of crazy. That injury came out of nowhere. So it would have been cool to see the New England defense versus the Bears defense, the two highest draft picked defenses. But we got cheated of that matchup, much like we got cheated out of a lot of Clipper Warrior playoff matchups back in the day, because the Clippers also know how to choke. Bacon has a bold strategy, starting both Calvin Ridley and Mohamed Sanu against the Cardinals. I personally never like playing multiple players on the same team, unless it's obviously a quarterback wide receiver stack like Max has. Unfortunately, Max has to start Corey Davis this week, just based on buys and injuries and stashing Jay Ajayi. That one really doesn't make sense. You got to get rid of him, bro. You're going to need a replacement. I'm going to take the New England Empire in this one. I think the combination of Todd Gurley being injured and Corey Davis, Corey Davis wouldn't even qualify for the Dodgers disappearing acts because he has never been a stud, somebody that you ever want to start. And unfortunately, you're stuck doing it. Hopefully Odell figures it out, but he's got more single-digit point performances than double-digit. So maybe he bounces back against Seattle. Ideally, Max, you get the Browns Seahawks shootout. Yeah, that would do wonders for you, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. Bacon's been putting up consistent points, and I think you're gonna have a rough week, Max. So I'm sorry. Yeah, don't watch football this weekend. Don't curse your couch. That thing, or maybe sit on the couch with friends and get the W. Prove me wrong. That'd be cool. Next up, we have Count Chocula and Jameson Mule. This matchup is fun because Bill is playing fantasy defense more actively. He swooped on Gardner Minshew. He cheated the league out of the Minshew Mania DJ Shark stack, the Gardner Shark name that I love so much. That would have been cool. But yeah, let's see. What else is going on in here? Bill's playing chess. Yeah, Bill's playing chess. Picking up a starting quarterback. So you can't. But Teddy Bridgewater is not the worst you could do. He had his breakout game last week. I think it's very possible that he can do that again against Jacksonville. Um, it looked like Jalen Ramsey has been practicing all week, so that actually be a knock against Bridgewater. But who knows what's going on over there? They haven't really been that dope this season as a defense, as Brad knows oh too well. Hmm. Excuse me. Juju, this poor guy. He was so hyped coming in the season, and now he's got Hodges throwing him the ball against the Chargers. Uh, I don't know if the stud cornerback of the Chargers shadows players, but if he does, Juju may be in for a long, 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 long day. Hopefully, Bosa doesn't just feast on Hodges. That would be annoying. Um, then again, Lil Bosa is going to feast on Goff because Goff is an idiot. And yeah, the Bosa bet. Has there been a greater bet in fantasy than the Bosa bet? Um, Remains to be seen. There's still many bets to be made. Literally anything with Colin is a winner. So get your bets out there, boys. Mm. I think I'm taking Jameson Mule in this one. Unfortunately, I think, yeah, Juju's going to have a rough day at the office. Robert Woods going against the Niners. Niners have been balling out. Breeda's going to feast. David Johnson, I'm betting that he's going to be injured. I'm honestly hoping for it. And I'm sorry that's to your detriment, but somebody had to take the L, and I just don't want it to be me. Yeah, and Run CMC is gonna put up like 35 again, so that's gonna be gnarly. A little surprising that Bill's actually starting Gardner Minshew and not Jameis Winston because the Buccaneer Panther game should be a fun one. I guess that's too many players. You have, wow, that would be 5 players in that game. Yeah, that's too many. Good move. Good move, Bill. I'm taking you for the win. You're playing chess, and we're all playing backgammon for some fucking reason. Game's stupid. Next up is the Pretender, barely newer, versus Ezekiel Saw the Deal. I think Julio Jones is gonna blow up. Unfortunately, I think that's the only person that's gonna blow up for you, Stu. Lamar Jackson might have a good game, but Marquise Brown has got that ankle thing he's dealing with. Alshon Jeffrey, he's going up against Minnesota defense. They've been crushing it. Switching over to Adam's team, Will Fuller had a breakout game, and you love to see that like full steam ahead going into matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs. Their defense is trash. You know it's going to be a shootout. That's going to be such a fun game to watch. It's a bummer that it's not Sunday Night Football because that would just be epic. Um, yeah, golly, that's going to be a fun one. Melvin Gordon, hopefully he has his breakout game and returns to form. Stu, you're kind of needing that to happen. Zeke's, however, yeah, he's going to feast on the Jets. Above average defense. That was a cool graphic that I found. I'm so happy that it popped up on Twitter. Pretty relevant to our conversation. Those graphs are pretty sweet. Offensive efficiency versus defensive efficiency plotted. And it's funny how whenever I see those, the Dolphins are just always on an island, like in both shitty categories. So it's like historic of a season the Patriots are having for all the positive things. The Dolphins are having a historic season for all the bad things. So that's a bummer. In this matchup, I am choosing Adam. just because, yeah, the pretender theme is going to go strong, and Adams' rise to fantasy dominance is looming large again. He's got himself positioned quite well. Already storing a defense for next week. Well done, Adam. Good looking son of a bitch. Next matchup is Fuck Me, right? And Hawkencock. Little You Hate Crime. Week 2 for Sones of just getting beat down by the East Wing, unfortunately for you. Tyreek Hill is supposedly coming back. That's super crazy to me considering he's 4 weeks removed from a broken collarbone. That's nuts. Having broken my own collarbone, I wasn't doing anything for like 2 months. I was in excruciating pain for 1 month. Yeah, kudos to him. If he can go to battle, go to war this quickly, this completely changes the dynamic of Collins' team. He no longer has to start Auden Tate or Chris Thompson, and now his team actually looks pretty solid. Despite, he's got room to improve with Prison Mike Williams. But yeah, poor Sones is over here starting Duke Johnson. You hate to see that. James Conner, I think, is going to have a rough day at the office as well against the Chargers. It's pretty fitting that if he feasts on the Chargers, then it'll be a double whammy for poor Gall. But yeah, that's kind of a buster of a Sunday night game. Chargers versus Steelers. I'm kind of shocked that they didn't flex the Texans Chiefs there. Yeah, T.Y. Hilton's on a bye. Yeah, this is gonna be Gall's week, and Gall's so happy to be at 3-2 without Tyreek Hill. Just that insane ability to turn any week into a 40-point week. That's gonna win a lot of matchups moving forward. Kudos, Gall, you lucky son of a gun. And finally, yeah, this matchup. Oof. True comeback story versus super shitty team. I'm projecting this to be the least points scored matchup of the week. You heard it here first. Scott currently has 2 receivers starting in Devontae Adams and Sammy Watkins, who are both not supposed to play. Yeah. So we'll see. And he only has running backs on his bench. So that's not good. Hopefully an update comes. It probably will Sunday morning. Evan's going to take this one. And, geez. Evan. Yeah, I kind of talked about it earlier. You just had the worst luck. Evan Ingram getting hurt came out of nowhere. He's been balling out for you. And your team needs Saquon to get back. It's pretty awesome that Saquon's like already doing drills and running around and after like that injury. That guy is not a human being. He's an alien. We need Will Smith to get out here and check him out. All right, so that is it. All of my picks are in. I believe that I will be 100% right because fantasy is random and those are all random picks. You heard logic, but I really actually just drew names out of a hat and that's what the results were. That'd be actually kind of a fun exercise and see how you could spin it. Like, oh yeah, I can argue for this person. I can argue for this person. That'd be interesting. Anyways, this was fun. I hope you all had better weeks than I did. Dodgers first round exit, fucking brutal. My hangover the next day was super epic. I tried to work from home And Cox was luckily for me doing a bunch of work, and so our internet kept cutting out. I dropped out of multiple meetings while like contributing to them. That was super awful. I had to like, yeah, hop into work, tail between my legs, just quiet and so solemn. It was a rough day in the neighborhood. Yeah, better luck next year. This is what football's for. At least I now can lean on the Niners full send. And then we have basketball season starting up here. I need to start working on my commish duties for that and set a draft date. That'll be coming up here soon, I think. Yeah, now's not the time to talk about it. Anyways, I love you all. I hope you had great weeks, and I will talk to you on Sunday. Peace.